All right, you guys, welcome to the call tonight. We are so excited to share with you. We greatly appreciate your time and being on this call to listen. Whether you're here because you're already a coach and maybe you just want to hear something to fill you up, or you are currently in the wellness group and just want to learn a little bit more about coaching. Or maybe you aren't in either, but you're curious about what this thing is that seems so awesome. And you're watching these coaches and your stories and seeing them living their best life and going after some big goals. And you're like, okay, I need to know the deets on what's going on. We are so grateful that you're taking the time to listen to this call. And if you're listening to the playback, thank you for taking the time as well. My name is Corey Mayo. For those of you who don't know me, I am the mama bear of Team Living Healthy and Fit. I have been a coach technically for 10 years, but I didn't really start working my business as a coach until about 18 months to 2 years into the business. And I'll shed some light on that as well. But just to give you a little bit of backstory, I was someone who really struggled with a lot of things growing up. If I'm being perfectly honest, I struggled with being confident in my skin and being confident in who I was. I always kind of felt like I just never fit in. I just never had that group of people. I had a very small circle of friends in school and in high school. I was kind of a loner in college. I just never really felt like I fit in. I always struggled with my body image and my weight. And I think that a lot of that, I know now that a lot of that stems from my mom struggles with body image. Even though she's not incredibly overweight, she is always picking at herself. So I kind of fell into that, right? Because I saw her doing it when I was growing up. And my mom worked full time. My parents were divorced. We led a very busy life. And my mom doesn't love to cook. So we resorted to kind of like the fast, easy meals. So I just didn't grow up knowing much about nutrition. I was super active. If you don't know me very well, I showed horses all growing up. We still have 23 horses at home. Super active, like very active and physical all the time. But I wasn't choosing good foods because I really didn't know what foods to choose. And it kind of spiraled when I went to college. Party days, you drink, you party, you go out, and then you go to Taco Bell and you smash, and then you fall asleep. And then it's like this vicious cycle because it just continues. And I really started struggling with feeling good about myself. Luckily, I had already met my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time. So we were very comfortable, which was kind of another layer of that, right? We were very comfortable in our relationship. So we would go out to dinner all the time and we got very relaxed, if you will, vegging out on the couch, watching movies, going to dinner, doing all of those things. And it wasn't really until we were getting ready to get married that I was like, I need to do something for myself. So I dove into like running on a treadmill and like cutting calories and being super restrictive. And I lost weight. But after my wedding day, guess what happened? I just went back to old habits because I still didn't learn anything, right? I just did what I needed to get that quick result, to see that goal weight on the scale. And so after our first son was born, when he was about 18 months old, I know that's a pretty big gap, but it just kind of was that loop. I lived in that loop of just, we sat on the couch, we ate, we went to dinner, we partied a little bit before we got pregnant. When we got pregnant, then obviously, if you're a mom, you know that you gain weight with that. And after I had Keyston, I really lost who I was. I struggled with like taking time for me And maybe some of you can relate to feeling that mom guilt, or maybe it's not even mom. Maybe you help take care of your parents and you just don't want to take that time for yourself. There are so many different aspects of this, right? And I can remember one day when Keyston, it's so freaking vivid. Like, I can see our living room in our old house. He was 18 months old and he was sitting on the floor. I'm not going to cry yet because you already warned me. He was sitting on the floor playing, and I was sitting there watching like Judge Judy or something stupid because I watched a lot of negative TV. And I'm like, he deserves better than this. And I had like this flash in my head that if I kept on the path that I was on, that I wasn't going to get to see my son grow up. And that was a really, really hard thing to think about. And I looked at my husband and I'm like, we have to do something. I don't know what it is because I've yo-yo dieted my entire life. Nothing has ever worked. I've never found something that I can stick with, but he deserves for us to at least try. And kind of in the background around that same time, somebody that my husband played roller hockey with, his girlfriend was a Beachbody coach, and I didn't really know what she was doing, but I knew that she was working on her wellness. I knew that she was working out, and she was doing something. I just didn't know what it was. And so I kind of I started watching her and seeing what she was doing, and she would talk to me about stuff. And I just was like, yeah, I know what to do. I just have to do it. Right? I know what to do for nutrition. I know what to do for fitness. I just have to do it. I've lost weight before. I know what to do. But really, I didn't. Right? Because I wasn't ever learning anything. I would get super restrictive and I would beat myself up. And I was doing it for all the wrong reasons. I was doing it to see a number on the scale, and I was doing it to get smaller. At that time, I wasn't thinking about health, vitality, energy, feeling good, what foods were actually serving my body. None of that. So I kept blowing her off. And then eventually in January of 2012, I'm like, all right, I give up. I'm waving the white flag. I need your help. I don't know what I'm doing. And I started with P90X. If you don't know P90X, it is an original, like way back in the day. Okay. Yes, it is a good one. I don't know if I could go back to it now. It's, you guys, hour-long workouts for 90 days. I didn't miss a freaking day. I made the commitment, and so did my husband, on January 1st. It may have been the 2nd or 3rd. Let's be real. Whatever the first Monday was of 2012, okay, was our day one. And we freaking, except for the yoga, I think we only ever did the first 45 minutes of yoga because she's very real. It's an hour and a half long, and I was like, that shit. So you guys, we started, and you know what? It wasn't perfect. And there were a lot of moves I couldn't do. We would freaking put Keyston to bed at 8:30 at night, and we'd go down in our basement. We would push play. We would feel like we were dying. We'd go upstairs and shower, and we would go straight to bed and collapse because it was freaking hard, like real hard. He had a set of dumbbells and I had a set of dumbbells, and I would literally jog in place sometimes, or just step in place because there were moves I literally couldn't do or that I couldn't keep up. But I kept going. And I was plugged into this little thing called a challenge group. Y'all know it as a bod group or a wellness group nowadays. I was plugged into this challenge group on Facebook. And there was only like 3 other women in that group. But for the first time in my life, they were cheering me on. I didn't feel judged. I didn't feel like they were looking at me like, oh, she's overweight. Oh, oh, she missed a workout, or oh, what. They had my back. And I don't know about you guys, but my school, like, I went to private school. So all those girls were freaking, as soon as you turned your back, you know what they were doing. As soon as you got up from the lunch table, they were talking shit. So for me to be plugged into a group of women that were working on themselves, They were showing up for me just as much as I was showing up for them. And they were applauding me when I was having success. It was like this whole new world of, whoa, like this really exists. Like women can support one another and love each other and celebrate each other and cheer each other on. Like that was the game changer for me, because I had a community that no matter how hard it got and the days I didn't want to show up, I knew that they were showing up. So I showed up for them. And so I kept going. We completed 90 days. We started again at day 1 because we didn't have BOD like we do now. You had to purchase a couple $100 program on DVDs if you wanted to do something different. And that wasn't feasible for us at the time. Okay. So we did another 90 days of P90X and we felt really, really good. So good that we got pregnant with baby number 2. So we were then pregnant with Beckett. I took some time off because maybe it wasn't right. Maybe it's kind of crazy and you might think I'm nuts because I took time off. But in my head, I'm a very type A analytical person, if you haven't noticed yet. No. I was terrified that for the first time in my life, I found something that I was sticking with and I loved. And if anything happened during that pregnancy, I didn't want to blame that. And I didn't want that to be taken away from me. So I hit pause, was still mindful with food. I hit pause. I took some time off while I was pregnant. And then we had Beckett in March of 2013. He's going to be 9 this weekend. So we had him. And when I knew that this was for real and life had really changed is I couldn't wait the 6 weeks after having him. Like I was so excited to get back to it, to get plugged back into a challenge group and to start working with my girls again. So 6 weeks after I had him, little old T25 launched, and it was perfect for a mama that had a new baby and was juggling a toddler at the same time and working full time. It was 25 minutes a day and super doable. So again, I dove in, I had success, I had a great challenge group to support and love me. And meanwhile, my coach that had kind of gotten me started and was chirping in my ear, right? She's like, you are having such great results. Like you are having such good success with these programs. You should be a coach. Okay. So that's kind of where all of you are, right? But instead of a call like this, I got to watch a hour-and-a-half webinar that was like all the fine nitty-gritty details of what coaching was, which actually for me was kind of perfect because I am so analytical. It gave me all the details and like itemized, right? So I was like, well, I really like this thing called Shakeology, but we're living paycheck to paycheck. I really can't afford it. So, okay, I'll do it, but I'll do it for the discount. I just want to save money on Shakeology. So that's what I did. I just did it to save money at first. But remember that community of like the women for the first time supporting and celebrating me and loving me? I wanted other moms and other women who felt helpless and who felt disconnected and judged and put down to know that this little community existed. This little unicorn that we didn't think could ever exist was something that was very real. And not only was it very real, it was completely changing my life. So I started to share my story a little bit. I started putting myself out there. And just by me sharing my story, I saw all these other women start to feel empowered and inspired. So it's this little ripple effect that is created by you making one shift. That you can just simply plant a seed of belief, because these people had watched me go from 205 pounds, feeling very down about myself, feeling negative, and not being able to get out of that loop, to a woman who is empowered, confident, taking time for herself, and making herself a priority. It was pretty amazing. So I started I started small. I definitely didn't start where we are today. Our team has grown significantly, especially in the last year to 18 months. There is a whole new fire happening. But you guys, the thing about this, and I could go on about coaching and I could tell you about all the trips and the financial stability and all of the things that this has provided for my family. But that's not what fills my heart. And that's not why I get my ass out of bed at 4 o'clock in the morning and start messaging 40 to 50 people every morning. I do it because that fills my freaking heart. Because I know on the other side of that message, somebody is going to be in a better place than when they open that message. They're going to feel seen. They're going to feel heard. They're going to start believing that they're worthy, that they're enough, whatever that is for that person. It's being a good person and leaving people in a better place than where you find them. So for me, being able to share what this can be for somebody and share with you guys that yes, I'm a coach and yes, this is a business and we can create a very successful business with this. You're successful when you help other people. Your success is by serving people, not by making sales, not by pushing product, not by putting all the product out on display. It's by seeing someone else and knowing that you can help them, by planting a seed of belief in someone else. So I'm going to stop there because I'm already like trying to prepare myself because my girl Kate, so I will give you a little backstory here. Hopefully this doesn't mess you up too bad. Yeah, paybacks before you even get me. I already got, so for those of you who weren't on when we were chatting a little bit before we started the call, I got a text saying I better be prepared and I should talk first because essentially, you guys, I am a blubbering idiot and I can't control myself very well. So that means I have a box of tissues and I'm fully prepared. But that's because I love my people really freaking hard. And I love this girl. I've known Kate since 2005 when we were both at the University of Findlay together, which is where we went to equine school and we both got our equine degree. We knew each other, but we had the equine program. God, I don't even know. It's a huge program down there, you guys. It's top 3 in the country for what they do. So I knew her and I had her in a couple classes, but we didn't hang out. I didn't know her super well. We really never had, I wouldn't say like in-depth conversation or anything, but because we went to college together, we were connected on Facebook and we would talk every now and then. And she, I'll let her tell her story, but like she was a coach before her and I really connected. And so like we just actually kind of reconnected because I saw her doing P90X and I'm like, yeah, girl, like get it, like keep doing the things. And if it wasn't for coaching, her and I probably never would have really connected again. And Homegirl's like one of my very best friends, someone who I talk to every single freaking day, who comes and stays at our house every couple months to visit and just be here. But I get to do this with her. Like we've created this mission and this vision for our team to serve others together. That's not just me. That's our entire team. And Kate has been a driving force in that mission and helping to empower and teach other coaches on our team. So I am going to pass it off to Kate and mute myself.
I like that. Payback. Okay, guys. Well, so thank you again for being here. Can you guys hear me okay? I want to make sure my headphones are tied in. Okay. Um, Thank you so much for being here with us tonight. We know that your schedules are all super crazy busy, and it is never lost on us when you take time out of your day to listen in, whether you're here with us right now or you're listening to the recording. I mean, we appreciate it. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Kate Kamer. I have been coaching, at least seriously coaching, for like a year and a half, maybe. It'll be 2 years in July. So I am a mom to a 4-year-old little girl. I also have an insanely spoiled sausage dog. And yeah, as far as the coaching aspect goes, it literally saved my life. So like Corey talked to you a lot about, like her physical journey as far as like working on her health and wellness. I'm going to talk a little bit more about lifestyle. I would like to share a little bit about what life was like leading up to me deciding that I was going to start coaching. And it is not something that I talk about too much. And I also have transitioned into an entirely new season of life. So you are going to have to bear with me just a little. I have the same backstory, I think, that we've all heard or, potentially experienced. I was that little girl with the weight and insecurity issues. It followed me into adulthood and got bigger. And I've struggled with restrictive eating, extreme dieting, extreme exercise, binging, intense weight gain. I am 5'2". I think the heaviest I ever saw on a scale was probably like 230 pounds, but I know I was heavier than that at one point, and I just couldn't bring myself to look. It was that kind of deal. So when my story with Beachbody is long because I was familiar with Beachbody and affiliated with Beachbody either as a client or a coach for years prior to any of this. And when I initially joined Beachbody, it was to lose weight. It was super simple. When I initially became a coach, which we're just going to fast forward to when I initially became a coach on Corey's team, it was purely to get, at the time, the preferred customer program was not a thing. So I did it purely to get a discount because I wanted to have the superfood shake with Shakeology. And I also was a stay-at-home mom at the time because that was like in 2018. And I had very little support, and I loved the idea of having closer friends. And this coach community just seemed like, I don't know, everybody was just having fun and hanging out and all the things. And I wanted that. So again, super simple reasons for that. When it came to becoming a working coach, that decision held a lot more weight to it. If we rewind back to 2020, that is the year that COVID, rocked everybody's world, and it was just, that was the thing that year. I was completely and utterly oblivious to the pandemic because I was witnessing my entire little world crashing and burning. So I was living in Memphis, Tennessee at the time. I lived there with my husband and then our 2-year-old daughter. As far as my husband and I go, we had admittedly had issues for years and years. And I am not going to go into any details on that, but I mean, it was debilitating in every sense of the word. Weight-wise, I was probably close to like 220 pounds at that point. Again, remember, I had started with Corey back in 2018. So I was making some effort to try and get my shit together and get working on my health. I was actively a part of the Beachbody community. I was a discount coach. I was a stay-at-home mom with our daughter, and I loved that, loved taking care of her. That was a opportunity that I was kind of forced into. And then after the fact, I was so grateful for. So that was all good. But then like, as far as like the rest of it, I mean, I was a fucking train wreck when it came to like my mentality, when it came to everything else. During the day, like she and I had our own little bubble and things were great. And then, as soon as I would put her to sleep, I could let my walls down and like emotions flooded out. And it was a very dark time, like a very dark time. And I had a lot of those back then. I lived a lot of loops looking back at it, with my weight, fights, with my mental health. Like there was no ebb and flow to any of it. It was just like a roller coaster that left me nauseated and spinning from whiplash constantly. And, during all this time, Beachbody, or really Corey, you know, she was there for a lot of that back then, way before I was anywhere near, you know, ready to become a coach. I mean, she and I, you know, we'd reconnected in 2018, like we both kind of talked about, and I don't know, for the longest time, she was the only person that really saw me. Uh, and then I think because she had initiated that, she did see me and like saw, because back then, I mean, appearances were everything when it came to, you know, it was our stuff and we needed to keep it that way. And so appearances were everything. So she was one of the first people that like could kind of see through like the facade that I had. And then I don't know, I think because of that, I was comfortable to let her in. So like she was my person. Like I have very vivid memories of feeding my 5-month-old daughter like at my kitchen table down there, and I'm like sobbing to her on the phone because of like an emotional awful fight from the night before that I just couldn't shake. Like she was my person. And that's the thing, like when it comes to this whole coach thing, like she wasn't somebody that was there to help me to lose weight or to make a quick buck off of me or something like that. Like she is a reason I was able to hold my sanity together during all of that. Because when I tell you the loops, all of that craziness that went on for years. So back to 2020. I'm shaking. All right, let's do this. It's good to get vulnerable, you guys. It's May to be exact. If we want to get really specific, it is May 10th. It is Mother's Day. And it is the worst fucking day of my life. Again, I am not going to go into details about it because it's not just my story, but what happened that day led to me packing up my 2-year-old daughter and driving 13 hours north to my parents' house in Michigan. And we were there for about a month, I think. It was during that time I was feeling so insecure and so trapped with my weight. I was out of my fucking mind with what to do with my marriage. I didn't even know, like communication was a serious issue for us. And with everything that had happened, it's like, well, we can't communicate about anything. How are we supposed to communicate about that? And I'm not trying to be cryptic here. I'm just trying to share what I can. It was then that I had decided that I needed to figure something out. Like, and on top of all of that, like I remember like sitting there and just feeling so much shame and dread that, you know, I'm looking at my little girl and I'm like, I am not who I'm supposed to be for her. Like kind of the same moment that Corey had. I'm like, what is going on here? Like my life is in shambles and I don't really know where to go. And I am not who I need to be to get through this. So I knew about the coaching thing. I mean, I was like, I need to do this. And I made that decision around June 1st and I hit the ground running in July. You know, and my plan was super simple. I had tunnel vision with a lot of it. It was to focus on me, get my shit together, work on my mindset, get myself healthy, start to build this business, help other women with their stuff, be the best mom I could be, and then take my ass back down south and do the best I can to fix my marriage. And then just see how things went. And, you know, I remember that day, I had, you know, I was definitely heavily overweight. And I remember pulling out, I actually have pictures of it that I've saved. I should post them. I think I have, but I put on a yellow bikini. And because at the time, I mean, I loathed myself like inside and out. Like I mean, we're talking, yeah, so many levels of it. And I put on this yellow bikini and I walked outside and I set up my camera and I took pictures. And they were not before pictures. They were pictures like I wanted to mark the day that I had decided that I didn't need to lose X amount of weight, look a certain way, be a certain level of successful, talk a certain way, act a certain way, anything in order to be able to love myself. That was going to be the day that I was just going to start showing up for me. I was going to be able to create consistency for myself and for my body and for just everything, because I was going to start to truly appreciate myself and love myself where I was at right then. I wasn't going to wait on the weight to feel good. And that, I don't know, it was literally like an epiphany for me. Like I don't know, it was like a light bulb moment. And so I went back and I went back down there and I did exactly what I had set out to do. Since then, I've lost like over 100 pounds. I've drastically changed my mindset. I mean, in that regard, I'm an entirely different person, completely, as far as like my mental health goes. Shout out to being able to ask for help, because I definitely live on a light dose of an antidepressant, something I probably should have been taking for years and years, but was always ridiculed and told like, oh, it's the weak thing to do. And, you know, you just need to work it out on your own. So if you need help, ask for help. Highly recommend. I'd found a passion for helping others that I did not know I had in me. I could see this, like, as I was moving through this, I could see this coach life, like this purpose I felt, this passion that I felt, the, you know, the financial aspect, the opportunities, the growth mindset, like all of the things. Like I was starting to see this life that could just be so beautiful for like my family, like so beautiful. And I mean, well, Corey will tell you, I mean, I was in a central time zone at that time. And Corey was talking about how she wakes up at 4. You better believe my alarm went off at 2:45 so I could get on with her at 3 so we could have FaceTime together. We did that for months. I mean, I'm talking, I had my back against the wall, like grinding. And you know, everything was just kind of moving forward, right? Like life in general. Yeah. 1 second. You have to there's a little switch that you have to unlock it, and then there's a light button. You can read, you got it. Okay, sorry guys, that's my mom. She's trying to put my kiddo to bed so I can be here with you guys. So like I just like life was just getting lighter. Like I was feeling amazing about myself. I had so much more energy. I was creating these amazing relationships, these amazing friends. Like I had all these visions for our future, all these things. Everything was getting lighter. And my marriage simultaneously was getting darker. It was like the more that I worked on myself physically and mentally, the worse things got. Or, you know, I was thinking, I wrote that out, but then I was thinking about it, you know, really, I think part of what it was that my perspectives were shifting and I was able to really see how we were living. You know, becoming a coach, we work, if, you know, when it comes to coaching, you think that personal development's a big deal when you're a client. It's a huge deal when you're a coach, huge deal. And so it, you know, it shifts your perspectives, it opens your mind, it does all these things. And like for me, it like helped me to shed those rose colored glasses, I guess, if you will, and to really start seeing for the first time what was going on. And not only that, but I was starting to realize for the first time who I was, who I wanted to be, what I deserved, shit, like what we all deserved, you know, like I am not a spiteful person. Like we all needed to be happy. Becoming a coach gave me the tools and everything to be able to become confident in communicating better and asking for not necessarily what I wanted, but like what I needed, you know, like as a human, as a wife, as a woman, like all these things. Like I was all of a sudden able to like clearly like just come to the table and say, hey, like this is what we need to do, or this is, you know, this is what I'm offering. Like it was all, everything was just shifting for me. And it you know, it takes two to work on these things. So becoming a coach definitely takes two people to work on these things. Becoming a coach also gave me the courage, because I inevitably had to turn my life entirely upside down and ask for a divorce, because that ended up being the only option to bring peace back into our lives. It gave me the grit to literally be able to walk through fire, it feels like, in order to save myself, like really in order to save all of us. because man, like the asking for a divorce is hard. The aftermath and the repercussions that follow are uh there's something. Um Becoming a coach gave me the closest of friends who are literally family, like literally family. Like I would fucking drop anything for these women. And they know it. And they were there for all of it. The countless, it was a 13-hour drive, countless late night drives that I made as far as like moving goes. I moved 4 states away. The tears and the drama. And I went like 3 months where I basically didn't sleep and I was borderline crazy and they still put up with me. Um, I had this absolute fear of the unknown and I was still like moving forward because I knew that I had this community of women that like they were going to have me. Like I had people like offer their home up to me, like, hey, worst case scenario, like come here and stay with us. So I would not have been able to do the things that I did if it wasn't for becoming a coach. And then I sure as hell wouldn't have been able to survive the aftermath of it all if it wasn't for becoming a coach. And as far as today goes, this is where it's going to get kind of hard. So we still definitely live in a limbo of sorts as far as life goes, and it's fine. I very much am somebody who has come to realize, I mean, life is for living, and you talk like Corey talks about how like type A and planned she is. I'm pretty sure like this whole process has morphed me into the complete opposite, which is actually quite a beautiful thing because like we need somebody who is just doesn't give a fuck about anything like me to balance her ass out. So it works. Because she's oof, I just let her do her thing. I'm like, you go. I'll bring the hype. But for the first time, like ever since all of this started, I am at a point right now where I feel like I can finally start to breathe. I am seeing my daughter adjust to our new routine. I am seeing her adjust to this new schedule because she goes back and forth between myself and her dad. I am seeing her and her dad starting to develop a better relationship. We live 13 hours away and they see each other more now than they did when we lived down there. I had to, in order to be able to do what I needed to do, I had so much healing that I needed to do. Like I completely transformed everything about myself while I was still down there and in the thick of it and doing all the things. Like I had to do that in order to be able to initiate any of this. And so for the first time, I'm kind of getting to feel out this new version of me, this new Kate with, I'm getting an idea of what it feels like to be her without living under just constant stress and trauma. I'm seeing my ex starting to heal a little bit from all of this, which is insane. The other day I got to have like we had our first real conversation, like where we were just talking like parents and just like planning things out. And I mean, it's just night and day different. And, when you're in a situation like that, where emotionally, there's nothing that you can do. Like I was shut down for a very long time emotionally. And, as of right now, it's the first time in probably about 3 years that I have gotten to a point where I feel like I can be vulnerable in letting my guard down when it comes to meeting new people. I have navigated so much shit. Like I actually had to have a talk with Corey the other day because I think I was having an existential crisis because it was hitting me like everything that I've been dealing with. And I was just overwhelmed and in my head and like feeling like I was a fraud. But like all of the stuff that I've gone through, if it wasn't for this woman that you're seeing on the screen here, like you guys literally, like she would tell me like every day that I was like when I was going through all of this, because like I mean I talked about divorce long before I actually asked for it. And then sure as hell, like when I asked for it, man, everything was just insane. And she would tell me every day, like, you're worthy and you're deserving and you're doing the right thing by you and you're doing the right thing by your daughter. And you're not selfish. You're not this, you're not making this shit up. Uh, she would tell me all the time, like, she's like, life is just going to be a lot lighter and a lot more beautiful once you get through this and you get onto the other side of this. So I don't think I would have been able to like blindly walk through all of this if it wasn't for her. Actually, no, it's not even a think. I mean, I just know. Like I know that I would not have been able to, if I didn't have her to lean on, I wouldn't have been able to like have the strength to build myself up the way that I needed to. Because there were so many times that I would stumble back and she was just there, not to like, steer me or, anything like that. It was nothing like that. It was just like, she was just there with love and support and just like, hey, like, I've got you, like, take a breath. You know, like, yes, we are health coaches and we work in a business that is based on network marketing and we use social media. And sometimes I think that puts a bad taste in people's mouths. But you guys, like at the core of all of this, like our mission is people. Our mission is to help those that need it. And yeah, like with their health and their nutrition and their whatever, weight loss and God knows the random things people want to work on, like believing in themselves, like all of this stuff. But like their circumstances, like when it comes to this business, not just like with something like mine. I mean, I feel like mine is, certainly kind of to an extreme. It's a specific situation, but like anything, wanting more flexibility at home to be more present with your littles, or wanting to take some of the financial strain off of a significant other, or wanting to have a vacation fund, or wanting to, whatever it may be. This opportunity is life-changing if you are in need of a change, whatever it may be. And like the absolute best part about this business is that it all comes full circle, because as a coach, your life starts to change when you start helping somebody else to change their life. Like your life, you don't really, like, this is a team effort, especially when it comes to the coach aspect. You start to feel it when people you have helped are starting to feel it. Like the fucking ripple effect of all of this, Corey mentioned it earlier, but it is overwhelmingly beautiful. And this team is full of women from so many different backgrounds, and we're all so different. We are all so different, and we all just love each other fiercely, and we work hard and play hard and we do all these things. And it's just, I mean, I never knew something like this ever existed. And I don't want to think about what life would have been like without it. So that is all I have. And yeah, I love you guys. That's it. Good job. Are you wrapping this up? You wrap this up. You're better at that.
That's all I have, she says. That's it. Just mic drop. I'm done. I'm gonna walk away now. I only use one tissue. I'm proud of myself. I just kept holding it. I freaking love your face. I apologize if you guys can hear the children upstairs jumping around. I really don't even know, like, how do you even follow that, you guys? The reality is that we have the opportunity to create massive change within our own lives for the better, right? But the impact and the ripple effect that we can create by simply sharing our story, it's undeniable. The power that we have as an individual to help. And what's really cool is Kate and I can help so many people as individuals, but as our team has grown, and each of us, like, think about the impact if every single one of us on this screen helped 3 to 5 people, how much reach you can have by linking arms together and sharing your stories and just planting that little seed of belief in those around you to empower them. And it's not just about getting fit and doing workouts and nutrition, you guys. It is about leading your best life. It's about being happier, living more intentionally, slowing down and being present, having joy, having gratitude. It is all of it. Because we didn't get to where we are by just pushing play on a workout and eating certain foods. There's so much more to it. If you want more information on maybe what the numbers look like, maybe you're like me and you like to have the, all the details laid out. Caitlin and I are both open books. We are not here to reel you in or to like give you this sales pitch. We want women on our team who are excited about the mission that we're serving and who want to help other people. Yes, we want you to be successful, but you get successful again by helping other people. Okay, so if that is in your heart and you want to know a little bit more about the details of how to get started, what that looks like, we are absolutely here to share that information with you. That can be a bit overwhelming after listening to an emotional call like this. So we're not going to go into those details tonight. Just know that if you decide that this might be something that you want to embark on, you want to join our team, you want to start helping others, you get us to help guide you. Okay. We don't sign you up as a coach and then say, okay, go figure it out. We help mentor you along the way. Okay. You get our help every step of the way. Just like if you guys are already in our wellness group, we're plugged in all the time because we love working with you. You get to work even closer with us when you become a coach with us. Okay. We have so much more interaction to help you see success and to help you feel successful and build that confidence as you're growing as a new coach. And I'm just going to touch on the fact that I won't say any names, but somebody mentioned that they're afraid that they could fail at this. You guys, I have failed a lot along the way. But the only true failure is if we never try or we give up. Okay? Everything else, just like in your nutrition and fitness and just like in parenting, just like in your relationship, everything else is a lesson to be learned. It's just simply a misstep. And we can learn from those missteps and grow from there and do better and rise above. Okay? Thank you all so much for your time tonight, Caitlin. Thank you for keeping it to one tissue. I love you. I really do, you guys. She's amazing. And she has literally conquered the world in the last 2 years, but for real, the last year. So it's pretty amazing what a simple little message can do through Facebook. So thank you all. If you have any questions, feel free to message myself or Kate or to the coach who invited you to listen to this call. For those of you listening to the recording, again, please feel free to reach out if you have any questions. We look forward to seeing you girls in the wellness group and hopefully celebrating you joining the team with us. So have a great rest of your Thursday. It's Friday tomorrow. Woo-hoo! I'll see you guys later.